What is up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be talking about an interesting topic I've always wanted to talk about. Today's topic is going to be soundtracks. For those of you who don't know what a soundtrack is, which I'm pretty sure the majority of you do, a soundtrack is basically, it could be an album by like a specific band, or it could be a compilation of different songs by different bands, basically for a movie or a TV show. It's like, you know, like for some example, some bands make an entire album for a movie. Like, there's the Trick or Treat movie, not the 2007 anthology, but it's a 1986 movie. Go check it out. The whole soundtrack is produced by the band Fastway. But that's an example. And an example is just doing different songs by different bands on a soundtrack, or just different artists in general. But I'm going to go through the ones I have, and I'm going to talk about each one I have. I have like 24 soundtracks on CD, but there's some others I want to talk about too that I don't have. But for now, I'm going to show off my the ones I do have, and these are for movies and TV shows. And this also includes music shows like you know, MTV and all that. Those are included as well. But first of all, I'm going to do this one is WWF, World Wrestling Federation, the music. This has like this has all the theme songs. This has different theme songs from different wrestlers, like there's Undertaker, Edge, X-Pac, Dude Love, Kane, The Rock. So basically 14 wrestler theme songs on this. And there's the disc. I believe this came out in 1998. Okay, I almost said 2008, but yeah. This was before the WWF went by WWE, which means World Wrestling Entertainment. It was World Wrestling Federation, yeah, WWF. That's the first one. And then again, after I'm done showing all the physical copies, I'm gonna talk about, okay, so every one I show, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, and then I'll talk about some ones I either don't have that I really want, or just ones that are just good in general. WWF Aggression. This has like different stuff. This has like Run DMC, Method Man, Snoop Dogg, Redman, you know, a little mixture of everything, but it's some good stuff. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've always loved WWE ever since I was probably about 4 or 5, maybe, whenever I saw John Cena beat up Big Show, and I became interested. But this is just a good compilation, you know, along with this too. But yeah, really good stuff right here. And there's some theme songs by wrestlers too, or themes for wrestlers. Next, I'm going to talk about the Valentine soundtrack. Valentine is a slasher horror movie from 2001. It has like Denise Richards in it and all that, but it's about this kid who gets bullied, and then later he takes his aggression out and he starts like murdering all the people who bullied him, pretty much. And he wears a Cupid mask throughout it. And it takes place on Valentine's Day. That's why it's called Valentine. But this soundtrack is pretty cool. It's got like Rob Zombie. It's got Rob Zombie Super Beast, the Porno Holocaust remix, which that sounds pretty interesting. It's got Disturbed, Static X, Linkin Park, Deftones, Orgy, Marilyn Manson, Amanda Ghost, Professional Murder Music, BT, Soulfly, Filter, Snake River Conspiracy, and Beautiful Creatures. Those, I just named off all of them on here. There's 14 songs. And Valentine isn't a great movie. It's kind of stupid, but I would definitely say the soundtrack is definitely probably the best thing about it. I mean, its kills are okay in the movie, but the soundtrack is probably the best part about the movie. I mean, they even play a Deftones song that's actually on here. RX Queen, they play that during like a dance and all that. But yeah, Valentine, okay movie. I mean, I would recommend it, but not a great movie. Next up, I'm gonna try to get all 4 movie soundtracks, but for now, I've got Scream 2 soundtrack. It's got like Slick the Shocker, other stuff I don't know, but it's got like Dave Matthews Band, Collective Soul, Kelly, but there's like a Everclear and Foo Fighters. There's some on here that I don't know, but you know, I do listen to my soundtracks occasionally, but I'm also a collector, so it doesn't mean I specifically have to listen to them. But occasionally I'll listen to my soundtracks. But This is a pretty good soundtrack for the stuff that I do know that's on it, but I will check out their stuff that is on it. Scream 2 is a sequel to the first Scream, but in Scream 2, it kind of like, I don't know, it does take place in the same universe. It's still the same cast, but in the movie, you know, like, they kill off Randy, who's in the first one, you know, everyone's a suspect. But yeah, go check out Scream 2. Next up is going to be from a TV show. It's Headbangers Ball, Volume 2, from 2003. I'll name all 40 artists on here. There's 40 songs, and I'll just name all of them. It's a double disc too. One of the discs just fell out. But yeah, it's got Lamb of God, Arch Enemy, In Flames, back when they were good. Chamaria, 18 Visions, Lacuna Coil, Devil Driver, Sworn Enemy, 36 Crazy Fist, Cradle Filth, Demon Hunter, Mastodon, Motor Grader, E.T. Concrete, Poison the Well, Soilwork, Unearth, Strapping Young Lad, As I Lay Dying, Meshuggah, Rob Zombie, Mushroom Head, Shadows Fall, Murder Dolls, Slayer, which they do on here. It's a Raining Blood live version. Anthrax, Soil, Stone Sour, Killswitch Engage, Static X, Spineshank, Mudvayne, El Nino, Seven Dust, Marilyn Manson, Deftones, Cold, Stain, Hatebreed, Godsmack. I just named off all the artists on here. There's 40 songs by 40 different artists, and this is pretty good. It's a 2003 compilation, and I think it's pretty good. So yeah, definitely check that out. Headbangers Ball is no longer around, unfortunately. I wish. Okay, I'm gonna go off a little bit off topic here. I wish the world today really was just rock and metal and maybe a little bit of hip hop, but it's just overrun by garbage. This modern music, most modern music, even some modern rock is just garbage. But people like what people like, so I don't care. Next up, back on topic, Celebrity Deathmatch, another MTV show from back in the day where they got famous celebrities. It was like a claymation show, almost like a Robot Chicken, but they got celebrities like music, movies, and all that, politicians, to basically fight each other. But on here, you got Marilyn Manson, Exhibit, Eminem, Powerman 5000, Seven Dust, Rob Zombie, Cool Keith, Primus, Lit. Just name a couple right there. But I love Celebrity Deathmatch. I have some reruns on VHS that I don't know where they're at, but I know where they're at, but I just don't use them because I don't have a VHS player. But yeah, there's Celebrity Deathmatch. Next up, I have American Pie and American Pie 2. But American Pie, the first two movies were pretty popular, and then after that, the movies were pretty funny, but they weren't as popular. They were not near as popular. But everyone knows what American Pie is about. Sex. Teens going to college wanting to do sex. That's pretty much it. Pretty much. But soundtracks are kind of eh. I mean, they got Sugar Ray, Garbage, Third Eye Blind, eh. Blink-182, some good stuff. Goldfinger, And then I got American Pie 2, which this one is definitely an improved soundtrack, because they got like Sum 40. They got Fat Lip by Sum 41 on here, Three Doors Down, and Flying Blind and Green Day and all that. So improved soundtrack, yeah. Next up, I have Spider-Man 1 and 2. I'll get Spider-Man 3 one day, but Spider-Man, it has Hero, the theme song, by Chad Kroeger. Basically it's Nickelback, but with also Josie Scott from Saliva, I believe. The song sucks, to be honest. But other than that, everything else on here is kind of okay. I got Corey Taylor, who I like. Sum 41, yes. The Strokes, Theory of a Dead Man, no, garbage. But then they got like Macy Gray and Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, and they got another theme on here. It's by Aerosmith, and they got 2 Danny Elfman songs. So an okay soundtrack. There it is, right there. An okay soundtrack. Then you got Spider-Man 2, which I think is a little bit better soundtrack. People consider this to be the best Spider-Man movie, but I'm going to come out and say this. People said that Spider-Man 3 is the worst out of the original Spider-Man trilogy. I think the third one is the best in my opinion, probably because I've watched it more than the other two. I mean, I love these two. I love these two. I love this one and I love this one. But 3, for some reason, I just connect with better. People say it has you know, too many villain plot lines, but it's only 2, Venom and Sandman, and then Harry as Green Goblin's only in there for like a couple minutes. But this has got like Dashboard Confessional, Train, Hoobastank, Jet, Yellow Card, Maroon 5, Lost Prophets, Small Results, so a little bit better in my opinion. But again, the third movie is probably my favorite out of the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. But again, I love all 3 of the movies. So yeah. Next up is a movie that a lot of people hate, a lot of people love. I have mixed feelings towards it. I love it, but it's also not that good. But I got Spawn, the album. You know, it's got some pretty good songs on it. Like, you got Filter and the Crystal Method, Marilyn Manson, Orbital Corn, Butthole Surfers. With all these, you know, it's not just one band or one artist, but it's one band or artist with another band or artist on each song. But yeah, the movie is okay. It's not a great movie, but what I do like is that this right here, the booklet. It is a booklet, but it's actually a poster. It's actually a poster. Then you got this down here. So it's like, you know, hey, I got this from Spawn the movie. I'll probably put it up on my wall one day, but I want to get like another copy of Spawn soundtrack just so I can have a copy and not have it without the cover. But yeah, Spawn soundtrack. Next up is a soundtrack that is okay. It is Space Jam. I love this movie, but they got stuff like Seal, Coolio, Quad City DJs, R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly, obviously. Busta Rhymes, you know, there's a song on here, Hit 'Em High. Has like Be Real, Busta Rhymes, Coolio, LL Cool J, and Method Man. D'Angelo, Monica, Salt and Peppa, Barry White and Chris Rock, All for One, Spin Doctors. You know, it's a decent enough soundtrack. You know, normal booklet coming out right there. Yeah, decent soundtrack. Mainly just, you know, hip hop and R&B. Next up is from a TV show. Wait, hold on. I want to check this first. Is this a poster? No, okay. Okay, I thought it was. But it is South Park Chef Aid. It's got the South Park themed, which is performed by Primus, if you didn't know. Nowhere to Run, Chocolate Salty Balls, Brad Logan, Come Sail Away, Kenny's Dead, Simultaneous, Will They Die For You, Hot Lava, Bubble Goose, No Substitute, Wake Up Wendy, Horny, Hoobon Stomp, Love Gravy, Feel Like Making Love, The Rainbow, Tonight Is Right for Love Is a Rockin' World, Mephisto and Kevin, Mentally Dull. I'd say the funniest one sounding on here is probably Horny. I would have loved if they just did like a whole South Park album where because not all these are sung by Isaac Hayes, who voiced Chef and who was also a really good musician. He's been dead since 2008, I think. But no, I wish all these were sung by Chef because that would have been funny. Make love to my woman, make love. You know, next up is a really good soundtrack and a pretty good movie too. But definitely one of the better soundtracks that I have. Queen of the Damned. I first saw this movie whenever I was 7 or 8, so in like 2012, 2013. You know, it's a decent movie. It's not too bad. It's like a vampire love thing, you know. It's about this vampire who comes and he becomes a rock star in like a band. So it's pretty much like a vampire version of The Crow, which I actually had the Crow soundtrack, but I gave it to my sister because I love my sister, so. But This is Wayne Static of Static X, David Draymond of Disturbed. Yeah, see, they don't get the bands, they really just get the singers of these bands, like Wayne Static, David Draymond, Chester Bennington, rest in peace, and same with Wayne Static, Marilyn Manson, Jay Gordon. Then they get other bands like Papa Roach, Deftones, Disturbed, Static X, and all that. But pretty good soundtrack, I'll admit. Next up is another Marvel movie soundtrack. But it is The Punisher. This has like Drowning Pool, Puddle of Mud, Nickelback, Queens of the Stone Age, Broken by Seether with the Amy Lee version, Smile and Be Soul, Trapped, Chevelle, Damage Plan with Jerry Cantrell, Seether, Edgewater, Finger 11, Strata, Haybreed, just pretty good stuff on here. This was like one of the first not horror. This was one of the first Marvel movies I ever watched, and I fell in love with it. Looking back at it today, it's not the best Marvel movie ever, but it's decent. So, and a good soundtrack too. Next up is an old soundtrack. Movie's not that old, but the soundtrack is old. So I actually have 2 copies of this, but it's just necessary to show one. I have Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack. This contains songs from the 30s. This contains songs from the 20s and 30s, like Harry McClintock singing Big Rock Candy Mountain, You Are My Sunshine, Down to the River to Pray, I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow, Keep On the Sunny Side. Basically, old like country songs from like the 20s and 30s, I believe, because the movie takes place in 1937 or 38. So, and Harry McClintock's version came in 1928. So, it's a mixture of 20s and early to mid 30s songs, and I can enjoy it. If I'm ever in a chill out mood and I want to get some oldies, especially the 20s and 30s. That's 90 to 80 years ago. I put on the soundtrack, and it's a good movie. I love this movie. Next up is a good soundtrack. The movie is not so great though. The movie's kind of dumb, but it's music from Not Another Teen Movie. Movie's it's okay. It's definitely not great, but it's got Marilyn Manson's version of Tainted Love. It's got the Smashing Pumpkins, Orgy, System of a Down, Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots, I believe. Yes. Saliva, Stabbing Westward, Goldfinger, Good Charlotte, Muse, all that. Again, not a great movie by any means. Not a terrible movie, though. Good soundtrack, though. I will give it that. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got like 7 soundtracks left. This is a Jim Carrey movie. This is, and I have seen this. And I think I own it. But it's Me, Myself, and Irene soundtrack. It's got like Foo Fighters, and then it's got like trash like Smash Mouth and Third Eye Blind. But again, they make up for it because they have Foo Fighters, The Offspring, and all that stuff. But then they got like Hootie and the Blowfish, and then there's other stuff I don't even know on here, like Pete Yorn and Ben Folds 5. Like, what the heck is that? But I'll check it. I'll check out the other stuff I don't know on this. But it's a good movie. Definitely check out this movie, Me and Myself and Irene. Next up is a movie that I am obsessed with, but it's another slasher. It's from the late 90s, but it's the I Know What You Did Last Summer soundtrack. I actually like this soundtrack quite a bit, and I like this movie too. I love this movie, but it's got Typo Negative's version of Summer Breeze, which was originally by Seals and Croft in the 1972. Yes, and they got The Offspring, Soul Asylum, Korn, and then there's other stuff on here I don't know, but I will check out. But I love this movie. It's got, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., Jennifer Love Hewitt. And definitely check this one out, and even check the second one out, but just don't check the third movie out. The third movie is hot garbage. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Probably top 10 worst horror movies of all time, in my opinion. It sucks. But the first movie and even the second movie are enjoyable. Next up is a soundtrack that, Dumb and Dumber soundtrack. The music's got the usual for the soundtrack. Crash Test Dummies, Butthole Surfers, Dead-Eye Dick, Green Jelly, The Proclaimers, the usual. That's all I'm going to say. I love this movie. Soundtrack is questionable, I guess. If you're wondering where I got all these soundtracks from, all these soundtracks I've gotten from my uncle. Like, every single one of these came from my Uncle Ryan, so... And I know that my little cousins and my aunt are watching, and probably my uncle, so... Shout out to you, Uncle Ryan, and even my Aunt Sarah and my little cousins, B and Jack, because you're your guys' dad, and Uncle Ryan, I love you, man. Thanks you for giving me all these soundtracks I've listed so far. But this is Detroit Rock City, one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. You know, they got some, you know, stuff for this movie, like Everclear, but then they got some classic stuff like Shout It Out Loud by Kiss, Running with the Devil by Van Halen, Pantera does a version of Cat Scratch Fever, Iron Man by Black Sabbath, an awful cover by Marilyn Manson, Highway to Hell, Detroit Rock City by Kiss, Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy, Surrender Live by Cheap Trick, Rebel by David Bowie, The Donnas Strutter, The Runaways, School Days, Sweet Little Willie, and then Kiss Nothing Can Keep Me From You. So, definitely one of my all-time favorite soundtracks. Yeah. Okay, I have 3 left. So, I will go with one where I absolutely know nothing on the soundtrack, but it's a good movie, Disturbing Behavior. And with this soundtrack, literally all these on here, I have no idea who any of these are. Janice Stark, The Flies, Hut, Addict, Once Upon a Time, FOS, Funk Junkies, Driver, Eva Trout, Treble Charger, Jack Dragon, Scold. I know none of these guys. But, I mean, maybe they're good, I don't know. The movie's okay. The movie's a good movie, but I know no one on this soundtrack. And my last 2 I'm going to save one of my favorites for last, but this is another Marvel movie, Daredevil. Again, all these soundtracks I've shown off so far are from my uncle, so shout out to you. And then if he's not watching, my aunt and my 2 little cousins are definitely watching, so... but this is a great soundtrack right here, Daredevil. For those of you who don't know who even Daredevil is, he's a superhero in the Marvel Universe. And basically, he's blind, like he can't see, but he's almost like he can sense. He's almost like a bat. He can sense, but he's like a gymnastic type guy. He's an acrobat. But they got Fuel, The Calling, Saliva, Seether, and they got Nickelback, which is Drowning Pool with Rob Zombie, Happy Nappy Boots. Yeah, I think so. Then they got Marcus Curiel of POD on that song too. Moby, Evanescence, Chevelle, Hoobastank, Revis, and I actually know the singer of Revis. He lives in my town. Autopilot Off. Then they also got, you know, another Evanescence, Finger 11, you know, pretty good stuff. And last but not least, I saved one of my all-time favorite soundtracks, easily top 5. But it's a Wes Craven movie, another Wes Craven movie. That is Dracula 2000. Man, just a great soundtrack. They got Power Man 5000, Disturbed, Slayer, System of a Down, Monster Magnet, Godhead, Linkin Park. Avoid the Light by Pantera is on here. I think it was specifically made for this movie. Yeah. Static X, Head PE, Taproot, just Saliva and all that. It's a great soundtrack. One of my all-time favorites. And it's a pretty good movie, too. Now that I've shown all the soundtracks and talked about them, I want to talk about some soundtracks that I don't have, but I really do like. One of my favorite soundtracks currently, and it might be my all-time favorite for right now. It's about it's to the movie called Trick or Treat, and the movie is about this kid who's like a metalhead like me, and basically his favorite rock star dies. But he finds out that he can communicate with his favorite rock star who's dead through playing the records backwards. So he can communicate with him, like he can talk to him if he just keeps playing them backwards. But pretty much, okay, records and, you know, like records and all that. But pretty much, like he spins him and he can communicate. But pretty much, then he goes on like this path and all. It's a really weird movie, but it's a really good movie. But the soundtrack is great. It's by the band Fastway. They did every song on the soundtrack, and it's just killer. Yeah, but that's gonna be it for today, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.